If you're new to sewing and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by it all, then stick around because this might be the video for you. If you're new here, my name is Kerry. Welcome to my channel. This is the Kerry Louise Edit. Today, I'm going to be sharing my top 10 tips for beginners. Try saying that really quickly. Top 10 tips. Top 10 tips for beginners. Hopefully by the end of this video you will feel a lot more confident in your sewing journey, and we would have hopefully have saved you a bit of time, frustration, and hopefully a few less unpicking of seams as well. Hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss another video, turn on notifications, and if you enjoy this video then please do drop a like. So let's get to it. Top tip number 1 is equipment. You don't need all the equipment in the world. Please don't go out and buy everything because you just don't need it. The main thing you need is obviously a sewing machine. Now they can be as cheap or as expensive as you like. It really doesn't matter. There's lots of fluff flying in the air. It really doesn't matter to begin with. Don't go for the most expensive. Just go with a relatively cheap budget one. Or if you know somebody who has one already, they're not using it, maybe use theirs or a second-hand one. It doesn't really matter. Just don't go out spending a fortune on it. Obviously, you're going to need machine needles. Just stick with a universal sewing machine needle. You don't need anything fancy. And you'll also need shears. Don't go too cheap on these because they will chew up your fabric and ruin it before you've even had a chance to get properly started on your project. So yeah, get some decent shears, but please don't spend a fortune. Thread snips. Use these to snip your threads, not your fabric shears. It will not do your fabric shears any good. They'll just get blunt and then you'll just have to sharpen them. And yeah, it just reduces the overall quality of the shears and defeats the object of buying some decent ones. So make sure you use your threads Make sure you use your snips to cut your threads. You will also need, I was expecting that to make quite a bit of a tape measure. Quite self-explanatory really. Some pins. These are something I actually bought just not that long ago, but I've found that they can make things a lot easier. So for beginners especially, I would highly recommend clips, but they're not a necessity. And last of all, an iron. Iron is crucial. We will come back to iron at another top tip later in this video. This little fella is going to be your best friend as you start to sew. You're probably going to use this more than anything else. Trust me, you'll spend more time unpicking seams than sewing seams. Get one of these. In fact, get more than one because you might end up using it that much that it could end up breaking. So that's happened to me before. So maybe always have 2 of these, I think. Not forgetting to mention threads, of course. You obviously don't need as many as this. I've built these up over years, so don't worry about that. Just get a couple of just standard universal threads. Black, white, that's all you need for now to begin with. You can also use a rotary cutter as well as fabric shears. Top tip number 2. Fabrics. Stay well away from anything that is stretchy, thick, furry, super thin, sheer, fiddly fabric. You do not need to know any of that just yet. That is none of your business right now. You will work your way towards that. Just stick with 100% cotton. All bed sheets are really good to kind of work with and practice with. I do not recommend going out buying expensive fabric or any fabric really for that matter, unless it's like in the reduced section. Don't bother going out buying fabric whilst you're learning. Just have a play around, chop up some stuff you've already got as long as no one's going to get upset that it's gone missing or been chopped up. Top tip number 3, projects. Keep your project super simple to begin with, especially if it is your first project. Just try and just learn to sew first with the sewing machine. That's it. If you've got the hang of that, that is great. Then move on to like maybe a little purse or a pillowcase or a cushion, just something really easy, really quick to make. Get the hang of it and then build your skills up. Don't try making a gown or a blazer. There's no point. Learn to sew first, okay? Don't dive in at the deep end. You'll just get fed up and it'll just put you off sewing because you'll just find it too difficult. So building blocks, my friends, building blocks. Work your way up to those really fancy projects. Stick with something simple. Top tip number 4, cutting. Cutting of the fabric is super important. If you get this wrong, then your garment or your item is not going to turn out right at the end, or you're going to be battling with it and fighting with it to make it all work. So make sure when you're cutting out your fabric, you have some decent shears, or some people like to use a rotary cutter, whichever is fine. But just make sure, especially if you're using a pattern as well, you know, make sure you cut around the pattern properly and it's all accurate. It's the first step of the construction process. So if you mess that up, kind of mess the whole thing up really. So just cut it right, okay, guys? Top tip number 5. Research. If you don't know how to do something, please research it, look it up, because there's a certain way of doing things for a reason. So you don't want to go on in life doing something and then you're like, oh, well, this works, until it comes to a point where you're doing a certain project and then you're like, oh snap, this doesn't make sense, I don't understand why. And that's because you never actually looked to see how to do something properly in the first place. So do your research. We have information at our fingertips these days. YouTube is honestly fantastic. I've learned a lot of techniques over the years by watching YouTube videos. But never underestimate the power of a good old-fashioned book. I bought this book years ago. It literally is a dressmaking Bible. It has all the basics in there and it is easy reference to. If you're a beginner, this is fantastic. I would strongly recommend it. Or if not this one, just a book that gives you the basics. I personally do prefer to see things actually done rather than reading instructions. So kind of like YouTube tutorials work a bit better for me. But when you just need a refresher, or if you are more of an instruction kind of person, then a book is the way forward. Top tip number 6, ironing. I cannot stress this enough. Your iron is just as important as your sewing machine. It is equally as important. Do not skip this step. I used to skip this step all the time when I was very, very young, a young whippersnapper, because I was lazy. I would cut corners because I just wanted to get it done. I don't like the cutting out of fabric. All I wanted to do was sew, and I felt like ironing and pressing the seams, it
interrupted my sewing time.
If you're not pressing those seams, then you're not getting that fresh, crisp seam. It just takes away that element of pizzazz, and it just doesn't look good. It also, your clothes won't really fit very nicely either. So keep those seams pressed, press. You don't have to sew necessarily after every single seam. However, maybe after 1 or 2, then do it. If you leave it to the point where you finish the garment, some seams you won't be able to like press open or press to one side because they've crossed over onto other seams. So make sure you use your iron. Your iron is your best friend, your iron and your ironing board. Do not forget this. Top tip number 7. Don't sew whilst tired. Do not sew if you are tired. It will not work. Nothing good will come of that. If anything, you can actually sustain injury. Believe me, I have done it. I have sewn incredibly tired too many times because I've been determined and hell-bent. I'm going to get this project finished. It's going to be great. Or it's more a matter of, oh my gosh, I'm not going to meet the deadline. I need to get this finished. What I ended up doing once is I actually ended up sewing through my finger this way. So I was very lucky. It just pinched my flesh. It was quite traumatic. I kind of felt a bit sick. I didn't even make a sound actually when it happened. I think it shocked me that much. I was just like, I've just sewn through my finger. So, and that's because I was tired. So just please, this is just a hobby. So you don't need to sew whilst tired. Just do it when you've got the energy. Do it when you're awake, not half asleep like I was. And yeah, you'll make mistakes as well. And then you can end up losing the love for sewing. So just don't sew whilst tired because you don't achieve anything, and it can actually be dangerous if you do like what I did and just randomly stuck your finger right in the way of the sewing machine foot and let it go underneath. Yeah, don't do that. That's not fun. Top tip number 8. Change your sewing needle regularly. I'm guilty of this. I don't do this enough. I wait until it breaks and then I change it. I don't really know why. It's kind of just something I don't think of often enough, but I don't want you guys to do that. Change your needle. Don't do what I do. It's just something, because I'm sewing so much all the time. I should actually change my needle a lot, and I don't, because I'm just sewing all the time and I don't think about it. But yeah, please do change your needle regularly. It will stop your garments it'll stop your projects from getting damaged. Stitches will be nice and pretty, they won't be rubbish. Top tip number 9, wash your fabric. I am such a hypocrite. The more I am doing this video, the more I'm realising I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. You should always wash your fabric before you start a project. Doing this prevents colour bleeding and also pre-shrinks the fabric as well. So if you don't pre-wash the fabric and then you make your garment, then your garment probably won't fit in the end. So definitely make sure you wash your fabric first. The reason why I don't is because I can suddenly be like, I've got an idea. I'm going to go and make this right now. I don't want to stop. 9 times out of 10, my washing machine is already going anyway with a wash load with the family that I've got. There's 4 of us and 2 dogs. So my washing machine is on the go quite a lot. So 9 times out of 10, I'd have to wait for the current wash load to finish. Then it's putting it somewhere to dry because the family's washing is out drying everywhere. So it's like, where do I put the fabric to dry? Then it's waiting for it to dry. That's just me. Don't copy me. To be honest, the likelihood is that if you are using old garments anyway, or like old bed sheets and stuff to work with at the beginning, they've probably been washed countless times anyway. So this is kind of more in reference to if you're going out and buying fabric brand new. So, and finally, top tip number 10, have fun with it. Just have fun. This is nothing serious right now. You're just learning. This is just a hobby. You don't need to be so serious, and don't be in a rush either. Do not be in a rush. Take your time, have patience, and have fun, because otherwise, what's the point in doing it, eh? You've got to enjoy it. You've got to remember as well that mistakes are normal. It's what we do. Even if you have been sewing for years, you will still have to unpick more than what you could ever imagine. It's just part of the process. If you follow these top tips, though, then hopefully it will reduce the amount of mistakes that you make, but you are still going to make mistakes anyway. I've barely scratched the surface really in this video, but I feel like these ones are probably the most important to mention right at the very beginning. But for now, that's everything that I'm going to put in this video. Enough waffling right now. So I'm going to start. So if you enjoyed this video, then please do give it a like. I'd be eternally grateful. And if you want to see any sneak peeks or behind the scenes in the future, then do come and find me on Instagram. If you want to keep up to date with my videos, then hit that subscribe button and hit the notification button so you know when one comes out. So that's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully I will see you on the next one.